Welcome everyone to Football for Fun. Today we are going to be ranking every team in the NFL from worst to first, tier list style, heading into week 9 of the season. Now before we get into it, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this content. If you subscribe, it's completely free. It just helps us out, and that way you catch all of our future videos. Now we're going to go ahead and get right into it. The Titans get their own tier at the bottom of the league here. They are the worst team in the league coming into this week of the season, and most of that is due to the Jets finally getting a win, and the Titans just continuing to look completely outmatched every single week. It's really unfortunate for Cam Ward in his rookie season to not really have much help. They don't have a coach at the moment, and they've got one win on the season, and it was incredibly fluky. I don't see many more wins. It's unfortunate for them, but hey, I guess you get a good pick in the draft, and you can keep building. I don't know. Titans fans, you got it rough, but hopefully Cam Ward is the guy. That's all for the Titans tier. I don't think anyone else belongs in the same tier as them. The Jets move up here. They are 31 now, and I'm not going to talk about how bad they are, how abysmal they are, how much of a lost season it is. Let me just applaud you guys. Congrats, New York. Congrats. You got your first win of the season. It might be the only one. I don't know. I hope it isn't for your sakes. Justin Fields, proud of you, man. You took a lot of heat this week, especially from your owner, which was crazy, by the way. And you came out, you balled out, you got your team a win. So congratulations, Justin Fields. Really happy to see that from you. And the Jets, I'm glad for your fan base. You got a win. Hopefully it doesn't cost you the top pick when the time comes. But hey, enjoy it while you can, you guys. Moving on, we got the Raiders, and I don't have any reason to move them up. I'm not moving them down. I still think that they are abysmal. They are a train wreck. And maybe the addition of Brock Bowers, who I believe returns from injury this week, will help them. I don't think it's going to help them so much that they deserve to move up yet. And I'm not going to project it either. Maybe they do better this week and they deserve to move up. We will see. The Saints come in next. Aw, shucks. They swapped out quarterbacks. I don't care. It's not going to make a difference. Spencer Rattler wasn't even the main problem in New Orleans, and now he's on the bench. You got Tyler Shuck coming in to be the starter next week. I personally don't think that's going to go well, but hey, you got to try. You got to see what you got in the young guy before inevitably drafting somebody next spring. So New Orleans, good luck, I guess. Yeah, you guys are doomed. Miami. So Miami had a big win this past weekend against Atlanta, and they blew them out. It was Kirk Cousins in at quarterback for the Falcons. It was Drake London not playing, but you still had Bijan Robinson, who got shut down. The Miami defense shut him down, and the Falcons offense just couldn't get going. That was a weird result. I'm guessing it doesn't actually mean anything about Miami, so I'm not going to move them up too much. They do swap spots with New Orleans in my rankings because, if Miami can beat the third best team in the NFC South, they can probably beat the fourth best team in that division as well. So Miami moves ahead of New Orleans, but I still think this is a lost season. I think that's a dysfunctional train wreck of a franchise, and you got to move on at quarterback this offseason. You're probably moving on with your head coach, and I don't know what the future holds, but yeah, I'm not going to buy into a blowout win over Atlanta. I'm guessing things return to normal this week, but we will find out really soon on Thursday night against Baltimore, won't we? So enjoy the win, Miami fans. Hopefully it's not your last one of the year, but yeah, I don't have a lot of hope for you guys this season. I think it's for the best that you guys just keep taking losses and hopefully build through the draft and free agency next year. I'm adding Cleveland to this tier as well. Obviously, you need to be above Miami because they just blew them out a couple weeks ago. Cleveland actually looked all right for a half a game against New England. Maybe that's because New England always seems to start slowly and then blows you out in the second half. But Cleveland is just, man, it's insane that you could have a player have 5 sacks all by himself and you still get blown out. Like, that's absurd. That's how bad the Cleveland offense was. Myles Garrett had 5 sacks, a franchise record, and Cleveland still got blown out. So give credit to New England because they deserve the credit, but also Cleveland, what the heck? Dylan Gabriel doesn't look like he's the guy, and no one really expected him to be except maybe Cleveland, I guess. No one else had a third-round grade on him when he was drafted, so good for Gabriel getting drafted that high, but yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be Shedeur Sanders' time fairly soon, and we'll see if they have anything in him. Personally, I don't think that they do, but you got to try. You got to find out, sort of like New Orleans is with Tyler Shuck right now. You got to find out and then inevitably draft somebody next spring. That's just what you got to do. Cleveland, I don't really know what else to say. I still think you have a potentially bright future if you figure out the quarterback position. I really like Judkins at running back. I think you had a good draft class overall this past spring. So, look, there are stepping stones there. There's a path forward. You just got to figure out the game's most important position. So, good luck. The Giants, man, man. I always had them in this tier, arguing that you weren't going to compete this year, and it's really just have fun with it. Have fun with Jackson Dart having a good rookie season, and Cam Scatterbo having a good rookie season, and then Cam gets hurt, and that's terrible. One of the worst things that happened this past weekend, arguably the worst thing that happened this past weekend. That's just horrible. Horrible for the Giants, horrible for Cam, and I think everyone's sad about it. The guy had no haters. It's really amazing. I hate it for Giants fans. It's like, you guys truly can't have anything nice. It's horrible. But I would still look forward to the future. You'd be praying he recovers well, and praying for Malik Neighbors to recover well too. I mean, if you guys get healthy on offense next year, you got a really bright future, and based on the way things are going, you're going to have a last place schedule, so you should have a much more manageable schedule next season than you did this season. Then again, you were already playing on a last place schedule, so who's to say, really? But yeah, you guys got a bright future with Dart. He looks like he's going to be the franchise guy. Hopefully he keeps it up. Cam Scatterbo obviously going to come back next year, hopefully just as good as he was this year. Malik Neighbors will return. You got an offense for the future, and you got pieces on defense, especially with Abdul Carter and Brian Burns balling out right now. So, New York fans, it sucks right now, and I feel for you, but you still got a bright future, so hope for the coming years, I guess. I'm sorry, you guys. That sucks. Arizona is going to round out this tier. Just tank. I mean, they had a bye week this past week. My thoughts on them don't really change. I have nothing more to add. Just, I'm guessing your coach is gone this offseason. I'm guessing Kyler's gone. I don't really know what the plan is. Draft a quarterback? Try to sign somebody in free agency? I don't know what Arizona is supposed to do here. It's not that promising, but, I don't know. I guess they could hypothetically turn things around, but this team has not looked good. All of their losses have been close. To be fair, they've had close losses. The problem is they're losing all of the close games. So you got to actually win some of those games. It's been pretty disgusting, but I mean, they're not terrible. They don't belong at the bottom of this tier, and they don't belong below, teams like New Orleans or Miami, but they're also just not a good team, unfortunately. So sorry, Arizona. We're going to move on to the next tier. I've added the fading fast tier. I don't feel like I need to explain what that is beyond what it says. I'm putting Cincinnati here, and I never really believed they were going to go on some miracle run. I stated that the production on offense was not going to be sustainable, and so far I've not been proven correct, actually. The offense was fantastic again against the Jets. But my other concerns were the defense and offensive line, and I can't speak to the offensive line. I think they did fairly well against New York, but the defense, like, imagine playing the Jets and not being able to sack Justin Fields at all. Like, everyone is sacking Justin Fields or Tyrod Taylor when he's out there. Like, this is a very easy offense to come after, and the Bengals defense couldn't do a thing. Not at all. They lost 39-38 to the Jets, who previously had not won a game. Again, shout out to the Jets. Glad you guys got that win. But Cincinnati, that is a game you cannot lose if you're trying to make a run for the playoffs. If you're trying to win enough games so that when Joe Burrow returns, you are in the mix. You're in the race. That was a can't-lose game. So you guys are fading fast. You got some tough games coming up. I don't believe in you. I didn't believe in you coming into the Jets game. I definitely don't believe in you right now. You guys are fading fast, not just with me, but I believe everyone. Like, that's just such a horrific loss. Bengals fans, I'll say it again. I've said it all year. I feel for you. You've had some horrible luck in the past with some quarterback injuries. Yeah, you got to hope you're healthy next year, and hopefully you invest in a defense for the first time, and who knows how long? It sucks. The Vikings are going to join them in this tier. I mean, what the heck was that last week on Thursday Night Football? I picked them to win that game against the Chargers. I figured their defense was going to feast against the Chargers' fading offensive line. And then the Chargers apparently got healthy on the offense and then balled out. And Minnesota just looked lost. Carson Wentz, unfortunately, going to be out for the year. And, I mean, he gave his heart and soul for that team. He was not very good, but he sure tried his best, and I respect that. He got to play for the team he grew up rooting for. Really sad to hear that he's going to be missing the rest of the year. But that means they're turning to J.J. McTurn the ball over, so that probably won't go well. I've never been a J.J. believer. I will be rooting for him because I'd like to see the guy succeed, but personally, I don't believe in him. I don't think most people do either at this point. So, in my opinion, Minnesota, coming off that loss, they're fading fast, especially in a deeper NFC this year. Yeah, I'm not fond of the Vikings season right now. Speaking of which, you got Washington And I don't want to give them too much hate for losing to the Chiefs, especially with Marcus Mariota in a quarterback. They actually put forth a respectable performance for half the game and then utterly collapsed in the second half. So, yikes. But you can't expect too much from Washington when Jaden Daniels is out. And I'm not happy that Jaden is out. I mean, that's horrible. I mean, you're missing valuable time and your team has taken all these losses. Like, they need him out there, but even if he was out there, I think their record stays the same. I mean, it's their defense that's killing them most weeks, and it sucks. And they got to get more talent on the defense. They really need to invest on that side of the ball this offseason. They did not do enough this past spring, so hopefully they address that more fully next year. But yeah, for right now, they're 3-5, and the season's going nowhere. They got the Seahawks and Lions coming up, so yeah, I would imagine they're about to be 3-7. If they can beat Seattle this week, that would be huge, but I wouldn't bank on it. Your season's fading fast. You need a win against one of these elite teams coming up. I don't know if you get it, but good luck, Washington. That's going to round out the fading fast tier. It's really just these three teams I want to highlight here. Your seasons are definitely in jeopardy. Next up, it's the what are you tier, because, dude, Atlanta, what are you? No one really knows. I know that a lot of people were hyping them up after they beat the Bills. I was telling you guys, like, I think that said more about Buffalo than Atlanta. I might have been wrong. It might not have said more about Buffalo. That might have just been an anomaly on their part. Meanwhile, Atlanta, it was just them being extremely inconsistent. Yeah, the win against Buffalo was weird. And then everything else they've done is weird. Like, they got blown out by the Dolphins. And yes, I recognize that Penix was out and Kirk Cousins was starting. Are you telling me Penix is actually that much better than Kirk Cousins? Because I'm not about to believe that. Not necessarily. Drake London being out, that probably does affect your offensive game plan. But still, you would have thought Bijan Robinson would have a nice day against that weak, horrific Miami run defense, and he got nothing done. It was quite astounding, really. I was utterly shocked to check the stats in that game. Atlanta, I don't know what you are. You've got way too much talent to have a losing record. You've got way too much talent to not be in the conversation at the end of this year. I kind of expect you to be later on, but I have no faith in your ability to get to 9-8 or 10-7 and make the playoffs in the NFC. You guys should be able to do it, but you keep dropping these games that you shouldn't drop. It's astounding. So, I don't know what you are aside from inconsistent, and we're just going to leave you here for right now, and we'll see what happens moving forward. Part of me kind of expects you to beat the Patriots this weekend because that's the type of thing you do based on how your season's going, but hey, we'll see. Right above them, I've got Dallas, and maybe they don't belong in this tier in a sense, because, you say, what are you? Well, Dallas is an elite offense with a terrible defense. I can't even think of a word beyond terrible. There are so many bad words you could use here. I mean, they might be setting records when all's said and done based on how bad they've played at times. It's amazing, really. And Dak Prescott can't always bail them out. Against Denver, the offense couldn't get enough going, and they got blown out. So, Dallas, when I say what are you, I mean, are you a playoff team? Are you going to be picking in the top 10 of the draft? Because I could really see it going either way. I could see them getting to 9-7-1 and getting the 7th seed in the NFC. I could see them finishing 6-11 because of that defense and then them picking in the top 10. It really could go either way. It's a difference of a few games, and I don't really know what to expect. I don't. And I think that the offense will be good enough overall against some of the teams they're playing that they're going to kind of linger around in the playoff discussion, but I think they'll be just close, but not close enough. I don't know, though. Genuinely, could see it going either way. It's a lot of fun to watch, but hard to predict. Right above them, primarily due to the head-to-head victories here, I got Carolina. I intended to drop them further after that beatdown against Buffalo. I really did. That game was horrible. I don't know what Dave Canales is doing with our running back situation. I think we're finally going to give Rico Dowdle the start and the bulk of the carries, which, it's really concerning that our coaching staff needed 2 games to discover that, 2 games splitting carries between him and Chuba, when it was so clear to literally everyone else that Rico Dowdle was the better running back. I digress. Ted McMillan has been fantastic for Carolina, at least. The defense, at times, has been astounding, and then last week we let James Cook basically become Rico Dowdle against us, so yikes. I mean, James Cook is great and all, but our run defense giving up 216 yards to the guy, that's horrible. We shouldn't be doing that. So this team has been inconsistent all season. I don't really know what exactly we are. I really don't know. I don't know what to expect from Carolina. Part of me thinks we're going to beat Green Bay this week because why wouldn't we get blown out and then upset the Packers? And then the other part of me thinks we're losing by 30 again. So I don't know. I still think that we are capable enough of going 9-8 and sneaking into the playoffs. I also think we're capable of losing out and just picking in the top 10 again. I don't know. We're going to go as far as Bryce Young can take us, and I've never been the biggest Bryce Young believer. I'm believing a lot more this season, though, especially after watching Andy Dalton try to lead our offense, because my goodness, that was, I want to wash my eyes out with soap. But yeah, I believe in Bryce Young more now, but we're going to go as far as he can take us, and I don't know if he will take us to the playoffs. I hope so. I am going to pick us to win every game. Man, it's a lot harder now after losing to Buffalo by 31, but Dalton was the quarterback, so maybe it changes this week against the Packers. Coming in just above Carolina is Chicago. I don't really know what Chicago is. I mean, I am not selling all of my stock in the Bears just yet. I still think they are very capable of making the playoffs, largely due to the schedule they have as well. I'm not going to write them off just because they lost to the Ravens, who are playing a lot better in defense right now, and we'll get to them in a moment, though. Chicago's going to be alright. I think they should be able to make it to 8 or 9 wins and be in the playoff discussion all season long. It was a gross loss to Baltimore, though. You shouldn't have lost that game when they got a backup quarterback in, and their defense has been surrendering a lot on the ground lately. Yeah, I mean, I picked Baltimore to win. I definitely didn't have much faith after it was announced Lamar was out, but yeah, Chicago, I'm not too worried, but also you look at their schedule, and I guess their best win is Washington or Dallas, and I mean, okay, nice, those are good wins, but you haven't beaten anyone truly elite. You still have lost to Minnesota on the schedule. You got blown out by the Lions, and it's just, I don't know what Chicago is exactly. I feel like they're a young team that is going to be growing as the season goes along, and that's kind of what they've been so far. And they're going to have their highs, they're going to have their lows. I don't really know, though. So it's going to be an interesting story to watch unfold. I personally am going to be rooting for the Bears. I no longer really have beef with Bears fans. Panthers fans and Bears fans were kind of fighting a lot after that infamous trade, but I think we've all kind of become friends again. Like, we're both doing all right this year, so Bears fans, we're all good. We're all good. Next up, we got the Steelers, and, I mean, I'm putting them in what are you, mostly because, same with Dallas, like, are you a playoff team, or are you just picking in the top 10, which I don't think the Steelers are going to regress that much and lose that many games, but based on how their defense is playing, I wouldn't be too surprised at this point. But I don't think Pittsburgh's a playoff team, despite the fact that they are in a division that should have been theirs to run away with, but they are faltering right now. They're 4-3. They got the Colts this week. You can probably assume they'll be 4-4, although why wouldn't they go and beat the Colts, right? I do not believe in Pittsburgh. I never did. Even at 4-1, I was saying that they're the same Pittsburgh team they always are. That might have been putting it too lightly, because their defense this year is far, far worse than you expect from them to be. And, well, I phrased that weirdly, but you know what I mean. Defense has taken a huge step back. The offense has been better than it is most years, but it's just not enough. Pittsburgh will probably make it to 9-8, because that's what they tend to do. I don't think they win that division, though, and I don't think that they make the playoffs. So, that's my take, but I don't really know what they are. Like, could be anything. The Ravens get their own tier, because I don't really know what to do with them right now. I mean, I am projecting them to win their division. I'm projecting, but I do not rank based on my projections. That being said, I don't really know where to rank them. They got 2 wins, and they just beat the Bears, so I guess they should be above the Bears, right? But they have not gotten Lamar Jackson back yet, so I don't know how high I can reasonably put them before we see how they look with Lamar. It's possible Lamar comes back and he's not the same player. That's very possible. We don't know yet. We're going to find out Thursday night. It's also possible he comes back and they hang 49 points on Miami's terrible defense. So, I don't know. I'm going to wait and see before moving them up further. For now, based on their current state, I think that they belong right around the middle above the Bears, who they just beat with Tyler Huntley, who, by the way, should have been their backup all along. And I think their defense, they got Roquan Smith back last week, and it showed. Like, their defense is playing a lot better. So, I think this feels like a decent spot for the Ravens, but really, I don't know where to put them. They're weird. So, we're going to take it week by week. The more they win, the further they'll shoot up. If they blow out Miami on Thursday night and Lamar looks good and the defense looks good, they might make a huge jump. I don't know yet. Time will tell. Moving on to playoff teams, I'm going to put the 49ers here next, and yeah, they're coming off a disappointing performance. I mean, as it turns out, when Christian McCaffrey literally cannot do every single thing possible for your offense, you aren't as good. So, yeah, the 49ers offense just couldn't do much against the Houston defense, and maybe we should have predicted that. I don't know. What was more surprising was their defense suddenly taking that step back that we were projecting a week ago. A week ago, I was thinking they lost Fred Warner, so their defense is going to falter, and then they put up forth a fantastic display from mostly backups, and I thought, okay, they're going to be fine. And then Houston, who hadn't really had an offense for most of this season, suddenly had an offense, and Stroud threw for over 300 yards. So now, I'm a lot more concerned about the Niners' defense. That being said, I still view this team as a playoff caliber team. I still think that they are going to be in the discussion. There's a good chance they get the 7th seed in the NFC. I don't think they'll get anything above that, though. I don't know. I think they got enough talent. I think McCaffrey is playing out of his mind overall this year, and I think they're going to get healthier as time goes on. Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, if they return to that receiver room, that's going to help out a lot. I assume they turn back to Brock Purdy at some point, and I do still believe Brock Purdy is, better than Mac Jones. It's insane that it's even a discussion now. Good for Mac Jones. He's earned that, but yeah, I would say Brock Purdy's still better, so the offense should improve when he's back. We'll see. I'm not going to write off the Niners just yet. If I'm projecting, I actually don't have them making the playoffs, but it's very close. We'll see, though. Right above them is the team they just lost to. It's Houston. I tend to honor the head-to-head results when I can, when it's reasonable. I think in this case it's reasonable. We may have been a little lower on Houston than necessary, and in fairness, we were higher in Houston than mostly everyone else, so I'm not going to be too down on myself for that one, but, Houston's defense has been the best in the league this year. I'll say that. I don't think that's really much of a debate. I think they've clearly, by all the metrics and statistics, they've been the best, and they've played some elite teams. All of their losses have been to very, very good teams who I have above them, which means they're all ranked in the top 13 here, so that's pretty good. And they just beat up the Niners. I think that game, they were just in full control the whole time. They were basically always up by double digits or 2 scores. The Niners kept fighting back, but Houston did not let them come all the way back. So, good for them. Yeah, Houston is going to be in the discussion, it seems. That defense is going to at least keep them in the discussion. And if the offense has truly found its groove, as it seemed to against the 49ers, then they could be more than just a playoff team. They have the potential to be a Super Bowl team. I really believe that. With that offense, if the offensive line gets it together and performs well every week, why not? With that defense, it's very possible. Now, I'm not projecting that right now, nor am I declaring it here. I think that they are a playoff caliber team as it stands. We will find out more this week when they face Denver. If they beat Denver, we're having a separate discussion, but if they lose that game, then they're probably in the right place. We'll see, though. Right above them, only because of the head-to-head result, I got the Jags. Yeah, the Jags, I was never that high in them, even after they beat the Chiefs. I was like, I don't have them making the playoffs. I think that this team is probably a pretender. They were thriving off turnovers, primarily, and that's just not sustainable. Generally, it's not sustainable, and it hasn't been since then. It's possible that they end up in the playoffs. I think overall, this probably is a playoff caliber team, but it's on the lower end of that. They did beat Houston, so they're above Houston. I believe they beat 49ers as well, so they're above the 49ers. It's only fair. They've gotten these wins. They deserve to be respected. But if I'm projecting, I don't think they make the playoffs. I think they're a few games back, honestly. But as of right now, I think they've earned the right to be in this tier. So I'll put them there. Right above them, I got the Chargers, and hey, good for the Chargers. They're back. I was doubting big time on the Chargers last week. I dropped them a lot in my rankings. I think they were at 18, which feels crazy right now, but in my defense, they took some ugly losses, and they did not look good in their one win in the past 4 games leading up to that point. And then on Thursday night, they got Joe Alt back, and they absolutely blew out the Vikings, which maybe that said more about Minnesota than LA, but I mean, watching that game, LA just looked fantastic. So my faith is restored in them. I never really doubted they'd be a playoff team. I've always projected they would be. I don't know how far they'll go. I don't know if they'll end up winning a playoff game. The AFC is really tough this year, man. So I don't know. I still like the Chargers, though. I'm back on their side. I like them more now that they're healthier. That obviously made a difference if the game against Minnesota is any indication, so good for them. Now, just outside the top 10, and Bills fans, I assure you, this is not because you beat us. I'm not salty. Oh, I'm a little salty, but I got you at 11, and mostly that's because I believe you should be behind New England, who beat you in your own stadium, and New England, spoiler alert, I got them at 10, so I'll get to them momentarily, but Buffalo obviously looked fantastic against us. Credit where it's due, they showed up, they played a good game. Most of that was Carolina beating themselves, I'm not gonna lie, and by Carolina, I mean Andy Dalton with all of his turnovers and taking unnecessary sacks. With Bryce Young, I truly believe that game is at least, a 1-score game or tied, or maybe we're winning at halftime. I really believe that. If all the mistakes Andy makes, Bryce doesn't make those mistakes, then we're in that game. So, now obviously you got to pin the blame on our run defense too, and Buffalo game planned really well. They figured out how to run on our previously very good run defense, so you got to credit them there, but most of it was us beating ourselves. Buffalo didn't have to do anything. We're going to find out what Buffalo is when they face Kansas City this week. That'll be pretty telling. It'll be telling for both teams, really. So we'll find out more. For now, I have them ranked at 11. They are obviously a playoff team. If I'm projecting, I have them going very far, but we'll get to that later. My predictions will be in the video. Yeah, I like Buffalo, but right now I think they deserve to be behind New England. Speaking of which, the Patriots, I mean, I don't have a lot to say. I don't view them as a Super Bowl contender because it feels too early. I don't fully trust them yet. I know Drake May is playing fantastic. And look, I'm not a Patriots hater all of a sudden or anything like that. We were hyping up the Patriots all offseason, man. So part of me is glad that they're probably going to be a playoff team, and we were projecting it. So love to see that. Definitely glad to see Drake May thriving. I've always been a Drake May believer, so that's also nice to see. But I don't trust this team to actually go far in the postseason. This feels like an early exit playoff team to me. Once they face someone really, really good. And I'm not going to say that you haven't yet. Like, you beat Buffalo, and Buffalo's really good, of course, but that's all you've done. And I respect that, which is why you're even in my top 10. I just worry what's going to happen later on. I don't know. I feel like there are still some issues on that team that are going to get exposed. For now, though, you're a top 10 team. You're playing very well. I look forward to seeing what happens in your coming games, for sure. Now, right above them, I got Denver, and I was kind of fading Denver last week, and I don't know, maybe I was premature on that. They looked really good against Dallas. I previously called them Super Bowl contenders and then kind of backed down on that after the Giants game where they were, losing badly to New York. Came back to win, but still, you shouldn't have been trailing that much. I felt like I jumped the gun on calling them a Super Bowl contender, and I'm not going to put them back in that tier just yet. They're a playoff team for sure. I would be absolutely stunned if they missed the playoffs at this point. I'm not sure I'm going to put them in Super Bowl contender just yet. I want to see more from their offense. Their offensive performance against Dallas is what we've been waiting on from this team, and, the fourth quarter of the Giants game as well. Let's see how they do against Houston before we judge further. That defense obviously is up there, one of the best units in the league. Let's see more of the offense before labeling them Super Bowl contender. That's where I'm at. Now, right above them at 8, it's the Chiefs. I still have them as Super Bowl contenders. I had them in this tier last week, I believe. I mean, what is there to say? They blew out the Commanders. I'm not about to make a big deal out of that. They had Marcus Mariota playing at quarterback. It was a close game for a half. We're going to find out more against the Bills. This is a healthy Chiefs team now, so you would think they'd beat the Bills. If they don't beat the Bills, then, I'm going to drop them down. This is a game they probably should win if they are what everyone thinks they are. Then again, there's no shame in losing to Buffalo. So we'll find out more about the Chiefs this weekend. I believe they are a Super Bowl contender now that they're healthy. Rashee Rice, obviously, big addition to that offense now that he's back. So, I don't know. We'll see. I got the Rams just above them. I think the Rams have been the more impressive team so far, so I don't have a problem putting them above the Chiefs. The Rams coming off a bye week. I don't really have much to say about them. I think they have the potential to go far. They have not really any weaknesses, in my opinion. Maybe there is something that hasn't been exposed fully, and I'm just not aware of it. But this is a very good team, very balanced, very capable, especially with that veteran presence there of going on a Super Bowl run when the time comes. I still wish they could be more explosive, but that's me being nitpicky, I suppose. Just above them, I got the Eagles, and keep in mind, the Eagles beat these teams head-to-head, the Rams and the Chiefs, so I'm going to honor that. You could argue for Denver to be above them, but honestly, that was a bit fluky. I'm not going to take away credit for that win, but still. I'm going to put the Eagles higher. I would not hesitate to pick them to win again on a neutral field. Some would say I have them too low. Maybe I do, but the 5 teams I have ranked above them, I would pick to beat Philadelphia right now. So, that's just me. You're welcome to disagree. This is all very subjective. Philadelphia, obviously a very good team, obviously one of the best in the NFC, and therefore one of the Super Bowl contenders out of that conference. Problem is, that conference is stacked, man. Next up, I got Seattle, and I'm not going to say too much about them because they're coming off a bye. You can go back to last week's video to see what I said. But yeah, I think they're Super Bowl contenders. I think that defense is fantastic. I think the offense is very balanced. It has a lot of weapons. The best receiver in the game, good running back room, and Darnold is playing very well, so I like Seattle. I think they could do some serious damage this postseason. Right above them, I got Tampa Bay, mainly due to the head-to-head victory over Seattle. I'm going to put them higher, and it was recent enough to where I'm not going to undo that. Like, I don't know. Tampa's very good, and once they get healthy, they could be scary. I think they could be a Super Bowl contender. I think Baker is a very good quarterback. I would not be surprised if they go on a run. We've been talking about Tampa having that capability since this offseason, and we've labeled them a dark horse Super Bowl contender, so we're happy with that take. I'm personally not happy that we're right, but because I'm a Panthers fan. But yeah, Tampa is obviously very, very good. I think they're a Super Bowl contender, especially if they get healthy. That's going to be the main thing, though. If they don't get healthy enough in time for the playoffs, then they might face an early exit, and maybe they don't go on that run. It also depends on the matchup they get, so we'll see. Right above them, I got Green Bay. I mean, the past few weeks, it was, oh, you've got Green Bay too high, and now suddenly I'm hearing you don't have them high enough, and I'm just like, guys, pick a side. I've had them at 3, and I think 3 is the correct spot right here, just based on who I would pick to beat them today on a neutral field, and that's only 2 teams, so Packers are very, very good. They played a fantastic second half against Pittsburgh. That first half was not anything to talk about. I feel like we could reasonably be concerned about that first half, but we're not gonna since they ended up winning. Good for them. Yeah, Green Bay, I believe in them. I still think that they could win the Super Bowl. At one point, they were my pick to win the Super Bowl. I'm not quite there yet. I think they need to win their division to do that. I'm not sure the 5 seed is going to go on that run necessarily in such a tough conference, but I could be wrong. I'm going to keep them at 3 for now. I got the Colts at 2. I know basically everyone else has the Colts at 1, and I understand they got the best record in the league, and they are killing it right now. I would still pick the Lions to beat them. I got the Lions at 1. I mean, the Colts, I believe in them. I think they're going to get the 1 seed in the AFC. I do. I still would pick the Lions if they played today. I'd pick the Lions to beat them on a neutral field. And that's just me. I understand if you disagree. I respect it. So, it is what it is. The Lions, I've gotten some pushback on this. I think they're the best team in the league right now. If I had to, I would pick them to beat every one of these teams on a neutral field today. That's what I would do. So, that's just my take. I understand if you disagree with it. And that's really all I got for you. I mean, rankings are very, very subjective. There is no way anyone could 100% get this right. It's really all very opinionated, and we all have different ways of determining what these rankings should be. So, hey, drop your own rankings in the comments. Let me see them. Let me know what you think of mine. Let me know what I got right, what I got wrong. I would love to hear it. So, definitely let me know. Now, before we end the video here, I do want to show you my playoff projections and predictions. So, it's fairly interesting, I would say. Not a lot changed for me based on this past weekend, because a lot of it went basically like I would have expected it to. So, the AFC is almost exactly the same. You got the Ravens winning their division. I've never faltered on that. I've always said they will win that division. I still have the Broncos making the playoffs as the 5 seed and beating them in the first round, though. I got the Colts getting the 1 seed and beating Denver. And then, below that, the Chiefs are the 2 seed, they beat the Chargers. The Bills are the 3 seed, they beat the Patriots. And then, this is the one change I had, was previously I had the Chiefs beating the Bills, and then beating the Colts and going to the Super Bowl. I'm switching it up this week. I've decided the Chiefs are going to beat the Bills in the regular season. That's my take. But instead of beating them in the playoffs, it's going to be the Bills. The Bills are going to triumph in the playoffs when it matters most, and the Bills are then going to face the Colts, and the Bills are going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm saying it now. I might change my mind in a week, but that's what I'm going with right now. See, Buffalo fans, I'm not salty. I'm backing you guys, and I truly hope that you go all the way. That would be fantastic. In the NFC, it's mostly the same, except for the 7 seed. Last week, I was bold enough to say Carolina would be the 7 seed, and then we got embarrassed. So, not doing that again, unless we beat Green Bay, I guess. Instead, I'm putting in Chicago, who also, in a way, got embarrassed, but you gotta put someone at the 7 seed. It could be Dallas, it could be San Francisco. Atlanta was somewhere in the mix, except they choked at the end of the year. Shocker. I have the Bears going 9-8 and winning a tiebreak over several other teams, and they got the 7 seed. Don't know how, but they did. It's very possible. You take a look at their schedule, they could definitely get to 9-8. It would not be a surprise at all to me. I still have the Packers beating the Bucks in the first round and then losing to the Lions in the second round. Philly is going to beat Chicago. I got Seattle over the Rams, and I have Seattle upsetting Philadelphia, so we have a Lions-Seahawks NFC Championship. I got the Lions winning, facing the Bills in the Super Bowl, and the Lions are my Super Bowl pick. I mean, you kind of have to expect that when I've already declared I'd pick them to beat anyone on a neutral field, so I'm going to stand by that. For now, the Lions win the Super Bowl. That is still my pick. So that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of my rankings. Let me know what you think of my predictions. Drop your own in the comments. Leave a like, and please subscribe. We are so close to 400 subscribers. We want to get there by the end of the month if possible, although that's pretty bold. So see if you can help us out. Thanks again, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, and definitely enjoy the upcoming weekend of football. Take care.